This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'd like to be joined by the Trojan Troy Williamson via Zoom. Troy, how are you, mate?
Yes, mate, I'm all good. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you for asking. Now, let's just start with where you're at the minute. I've seen you kind of ticking over, waiting for a date. Have you any news or anything you can tell us?
Nothing at the minute, mate. I'm just waiting myself. Hopefully, something the next week or so.
It's a very interesting time at 154 because although we have an undisputed champion, there's a chance that the belts are going to start to fragment a bit if Charlo moves up. Your world rankings right now, I think it's IBF number 8, WA number 10, WBO number 7 now. Is this about just making sure if them belts become free, you're right there, you could potentially get a world title shot at some point here?
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, potentially my next fight's obviously a big fight, and yeah, if they do become vacant, then possibly one fight away from some sort of eliminator or something like that. So, exciting times.
I seen you mentioning on your social media about wanting a European title fight as well. Not only a very prestigious belt win, but a European title fight, the kind of fight that can really propel you towards that world title shot as well.
Yeah, definitely. European title will be massive, isn't it? So that I think that's the next step for obviously where I'd want to go from the British. Obviously, instead of jumping from British to world, yeah, I'd like to get that shot in the at European in between.
You said you're hoping to hear something very soon regarding fight news. Has there been any indication as to what it'll be, whether a British title defense? We spoke about the European title. Any clear front runner?
Not a clue. Like I say, it's just a waiting game. Obviously, I'd like to know within the next week. I know obviously the board have ordered me to face JJ Metcalf next. So I don't know what position he's in, and obviously whether he'll take that fight. But that goes first to July the 13th. So I'll know. I'll have more of an indication, obviously then. But I'd like to be out in August because that fight just has to happen before November the 22nd, I believe. So obviously I'd want to be out in between then. I don't want to be waiting all the way till then before I box.
It's one of the most exciting fights style wise that you could probably make in this country. You saying you're waiting to hear if he would kind of want that. Is that a fight that you definitely want?
Well, I've been on. Obviously, I have to fight him next. So obviously, I'm not one to back down on a challenge. So and it's my belt that I'll obviously be retaining. So yeah, it's a great fight. I've got massive respect for JJ. He's a great fighter, great champion, and we've sparred before. So yeah, it will definitely be probably another fight of the year contender for everyone.
Smile, big smile on your face when you say you sparred before it'd be a fight of the air contender. I said it's one of the best style matchups you can make in terms of an all British fight. Did that kind of echo what happened in the sparring?
Like you said, obviously it's styles make fights, and I think mine and Metcalf style will obviously it'll catch fire at some point, like my previous war fights, and it will be a very interesting fight. Yeah, the spars were good. I sparred him before when he was leading up for the Ted Cheeseman fight. Yeah, he's a great fighter, and one that I'll be looking forward to if it happens.
Hmm. I just want to go back to your last fight, another brilliant fight by all means, but something a bit new for you. You had to face a bit of adversity. You're down early, got up, showed your fitness. Close fight, a lot of people thought, but yourself a rightful winner. How much did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that. Things that obviously, like you say, obviously things that never happened before. I got put down. Done my first 12 rounder. So I always knew that I could do the rounds. Obviously, I trained really, really hard. I'm a true professional, so that was never a doubt. But I had to change a few things in there, change the game plan, and like I said, obviously I was a rightful winner. A few people had it close. It was close. I think it was a close fight. There was some competitive rounds in there, but yeah, I was the well deserved winner. I thought I won by 3 or 4 rounds, and yeah, I learned a lot from that fight. Without obviously going, I don't need to go into like things of what have happened. Obviously, that's irrelevant. But like the last 2 weeks leading up to that fight, things happened, but at home, so like somebody broke into my house and took some out of my house, and my head just wasn't fully switched on, even though I was continuing to train and stuff like that. So, but that's irrelevant. Like you say, obviously, did I take that in the ring with me? No, I don't think so. I just got caught clean, and obviously I went down, but I got up, pushed myself off, and I got the win. So that's all that matters.
We never know how a fighter is going to react in that situation where they're down early. Do you remember what was kind of going through your head when you got up? Do you have all your clarity?
Yeah. I just, to be honest with you, just 1 minute I was stood up in front of Mason, then next minute I'm looking at the floor. I didn't see the punch coming now. Now I'm thinking, fuck, what am I doing down here? Best get up. And I got up. Obviously, my legs were underneath me. I wasn't hurt or anything like that. He just obviously he finished the round strong. But yeah, apart from that, I had everything. My head was there. My legs were there. So I was ready to go. And obviously, I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I think just a lot of people underestimated Mason Cartwright because nobody's seen him box. It was pretty similar to when I boxed Cheeseman. I didn't have no airtime or publicity, so nobody seen me box. So people were probably thinking, "Who's Troy Williamson?" Oh, nah, the Cheeseman will walk through him. But I had a lot of self belief, me and my team, and I knew exactly what I'd do. And I think it was the same situation with Mason. Nobody's seen him box, so people were saying to me like, "Oh, who's this Mason that you box? I've never heard of him." But like you say, obviously, fucking doesn't always go like that. Like you say, obviously, everyone knows him now. Do you know what I mean? He's he made a great fight, and he put his name out there now.
Troy, you're in a great spot now. You've got a good following. You've got the belt, got these world rankings we were talking about, but it hasn't always been that easy. You did start on the small hall, often paying your way just to have your opponents. Done things the hard way, but when you're in the position you are now, and you've had these difficult domestic fights, are you grateful that you've done things the hard way when you see where you're at now?
Yeah, definitely. Like throughout my full life, I've never been somebody who's had something given to them. I've done it myself, or I've done it the hard way with a lot of backing. So like, I've got a great coach and I've got a great team behind me now. I've got a great family that have been there from the start. And when things were rough and I wasn't having things my own way, then obviously I had people to fall back on. Like sometimes I had my brother had to like help me out with getting to training or paying for equipment or things like that because I wasn't working. I was like a true professional, even though I wasn't getting paid. Paid a lot of money for the box. Didn't have no sponsors back then. So the money I was relying on was my brother helping me out. So yeah, I've done it the hard way, and obviously it's kept me humbled and kept my feet firmly on the ground. But even now, I'm starting to make a little bit of a name for myself. Nothing's changed. I still work just as hard, and I've still got the same people around me.
One fight I wanted to ask you about, exciting times for the Northeast. Josh Kelly was back recently. Josh, he's going to be moving to 154. He's kind of talked about wanting the Lewis Ritson fight, but with that weight differential now, a fight that people have been looking to instead, if you want Northeast fight, is you and Josh Kelly. You know the Northeast, you know the boxing scene. How big a fight is that down the line?
It's a massive fight. I know Josh really well. Me and Josh are friends. But yeah, if that fight did ever happen or did eventually happen, then you got to put friendship aside and obviously take care of business. But yeah, I've had a lot of people tweet me about that fight, and it would be a massive fight. Yeah, styles make fights, and I think again that'll be a really good fight.
He was back in action under the Wasserman banner on Channel 5 last week. Appreciate he'll have tougher nights at the office, but do you think it will suit him moving up in weight?
I'm not really want to comment on that. If I'm honest, obviously he'll know. Obviously, I don't know how much he was struggling to do welterweight. But I don't think he's a big super welter. But who knows? He might eventually go into the weight, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Just a couple more away from yourself that I wanted to get your thoughts on. We mentioned waiting to see what Jamel Charlo is going to be doing with all those belts in your division. It looks like him and Tim Tszyu are going to be fighting next. Tim's got himself that undisputed title shot. Who wins and how, from what you've seen?
I've never seen Tim Tszyu fight. But to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Charlo. I think Charlo's a great champion, so I'm expecting a Charlo win, and then hopefully he moves on and they all become vacant.
Now, one other one I need to ask you about. We've had the news breaking from Dan Raphael that Savannah Marshall and Carissa Shields finally looking like we're going to get that fight, but in London rather than the Northeast. Obviously, We would have loved that for Northeast boxing. But what do you think will be the difference between them? I'm sure you'll be back in Savannah, but what will be the difference?
Size. I think Savannah Marshall's a beast. She'll beat most men. She punches really. I've sparred her again up Sheffield on the GB squad, and she punches really hard. And I think, yeah, I think that's what's going to be the difference. I don't think Clarissa Shields will be able to keep her away for 12 rounds.
Just a word on the Northeast boxing scene then. If we end up having an undisputed world champion, we've got yourself moving into even bigger fights going forward, the likes of Josh Kelly and Lewis Ritson around as well. Really exciting nights could be ahead if Savannah can bring them belts up, and I know you guys keep winning.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think Northeast boxing's booming. Northeast boxing is on fire at the minute, and it's only just starting to get the recognition that it deserves. So yeah, hopefully bring some big nights up into the Northeast, because Northeast fans deserve it. One of the best fans in the country.
Right, Troy, well, appreciate you taking time to speak to Boxing Social. I'm sure we'll catch you when you've got some fight news, all right?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Hopefully soon.